with me while I tell you guys a story time about the fakest friend I've ever had. So this story time takes place in about 8th grade, and this friend, let's call her Addie, low-key hated me. So I always thought Addie was like super cool, and she sat next to me in history class and we kind of started talking. And I was super excited to have a friend because in 8th grade I didn't really have much friends. And so I kind of ignored all the red flags that Addie gave. Like, she would low-key always body shame me, calling me a Dora and then I'm flat. And she would say snarky comments about how she's so skinny and wish she was big like me. Keep in mind, I was 80 pounds at this time. So that like really messed up my self-confidence. But then it gets worse. Because you know when you're friends with someone, you always send like goofy photos. Well, she screenshotted all of these like stupid photos I sent her and showed them to my crush. Now these photos were like photos of my feet and me looking like a complete idiot. And when I confronted her about this, she said that she was just scrolling through her phone and my crush just happened to look down at that exact photo. And one day I was talking to her about my divorced parents and how I was like really upset and stuff. And she told me to get over it. But I was stupid and I continued being her friend. So this girl had a private story I was not on. Now I had no idea about this private story until she posted about me on it. So this is what she said. She said, "Bro, did y'all see Emily's Insta post? Girl looks like Wreck-It Ralph. I'm just confused in how she has a chance with my crush's name. Like, no, he's a 10 and at most you're a 2. Like, have you seen her eat? She looks like a pig for real." Then she showed a picture of me from the 5th grade and said, like, WTF is this? That's me when I was 10. And thank God somebody I knew was on that story because they sent that to me. And I literally never started crying any faster. Because she posted that to a private story with about like 100 people. And I literally started crying so freaking hard. And now I confronted her. I texted her and I was like, "Addie, what the heck is this? Why would you post this?" And she was saying it was a social experiment to see who was a true friend. Like, what? And I remember I just sent her this long paragraph just confronting her. Now, I did not have a lot of friends in the 8th grade, so even though Addie was horrible to me, I still continued to be her friend. But sadly, that's not the worst thing she did, because she made up a rumor that I vaped. And no judgment to any of you guys if you do vape, but that's like a big deal at my school. Because like I said in past videos, I go to a very small private school with about 30 people. So news like that travels fast. So I was called into the principal's office because the teachers heard that I was vaping on school property. But of course I wasn't. And I didn't know Addie was the one who started this rumor until like this month. When like my other friend told me. But I continued to be her friend all of the 8th grade year. And if you think what I've told you is bad, it gets worse. Part 2 of the story time about the fakest friend I've ever had. So where I left off, Addie started a rumor that I vaped. Luckily, that was like cleared super quickly. Like, I had to go to the principal's office and they asked me a couple questions, but I just told them I've never done it and it was a rumor. And so again, I just brushed that off and I continued to be Addie's friend, but it gets worse and worse. Like, this girl, she actually hated me. I don't know why she was friends with me when her pure mission was just to make me miserable. So at this time, my brother was very, very, very depressed. Like, he was harming and he wanted to commit. And I was obviously distraught because that's my brother. And so I came to Addie and I like told her everything for like comfort or something. But that was the most stupid mistake I have ever done because she told everyone. Disclaimer, my brother is perfectly fine now. You guys don't have to worry. But anyway, she told my whole school about that. And I just remember going home straight after finding out that she told people and just crying and crying. Because no matter how hard I tried to make this girl like me, she just hated me. And I had no friends, so I couldn't just drop Addie because then I'd have no one. So again, I brushed it off. But the final straw was when Addie embarrassed me in front of the whole school. That may be an exaggeration, but that's honestly what it felt like. So this was in lunch and I was walking to my lunch table after getting my lunch when Addie shouted, "Oh my gosh, look how much food Emily has on her plate." I literally just stood there in shock while everyone started looking at me. And now the food I had in my plate in question was fruit, water, and I think rice. I did not know what to do in that situation, so I just sat down and I just stayed quiet. But Addie seriously just ruined my self-esteem and all of these other girls were just laughing at me. But thankfully there was this one girl who came up to me, she comforted me, she was like, "Don't listen to Addie, she's so mean." And that girl is the only reason why I stopped being friends with Addie. Because I finally realized that there's other people out there who are willing to be my friend and I am not alone. So that girl, let's call her Macy, she is a pure angel. She is so sweet. She helped me realize that Addie is just a horrible person and she only had bad intentions for me. So Macy and I came up with a plan to expose Addie once and for all. So Macy and Addie were friends, but Macy experienced everything that happened to me with like Addie being fake and just toxic. So Macy came up with a plan that she would go to Addie and talk bad about me to see what she would say. And so Macy came up to Addie. She was like, oh my gosh, did you see Emily today? She looks so weird. She's so ugly. And every single thing Addie said, Macy recorded. So she recorded everything that Addie said and then showed it to the principal. And let's just say Addie got suspended and she never bothered me ever again. So a huge thank you to Macy. I love you so much. Bye.
Get ready with me to tell you about how me and my best friend got in a fist fight. As you guys know, I've talked about my kindergarten through 4th grade best friend, Peanut Butter. Peanut Butter had a very different way of expressing her love to her friends, I guess you could say. So one day, it's me, her, and these 2 other girls. And I had a bunk bed, and we're all sitting under the bunk bed on, like, where the bottom bunk would be, but I didn't have a bottom bunk. Everything's fine, and we're just talking and being normal, but all of a sudden, Peanut Butter gets really, really defensive and talks about all the ways she's better than me. And I'm like, yeah, like, you're better at me than that, but, like, I don't think you're necessarily better at me than, like, this other thing, or, like, whatever we were talking about. Then she goes on to talk about how she could beat me in a fight, and mind you, we're in, like, 3rd grade, and she's talking about how she can beat me in a fight. And I'm like, I don't necessarily think you could, because, like, I'm taking boxing right now. I don't know, really basic 3rd grade talk. Then she's like, let's put it to the test. Let's punch each other and see whose nose bleeds first. And I was like, excuse me, what did you just say? Like, did I hear that correctly? So I ended up saying, I'm not punching you first. If you punch me, I'll probably punch you back. So then she goes, first to give each other a bloody nose wins. Like, this whole conversation, I was just, like, in pure utter shock because, like, I don't know any other 3rd grade best friends that were punching each other in the face. So Peanut Butter does exactly what she says she's gonna do and hits me right here in the nose. Just bangs me. And I'm like, is that all you have? Like, it didn't hurt at all, because it genuinely didn't. Like, she didn't hurt my nose whatsoever. I was not in pain. It didn't bleed. Nothing. Then she ends up hitting me again because I said, go ahead, try one more time. So she does. And it hurt a little bit more than the first one, but still really nothing. And at this point, it's about, like, I am about to, like, hit her. So I take my fist and I hit her in the nose. Because I'm not going to let someone stand there and hit me and not defend myself. So I hit her back and her nose starts bleeding. She's like, oh, it didn't hurt. And Peanut Butter goes in the bathroom, and she starts crying, and I realize that her nose is bleeding. At this point, she makes me promise I will not tell anyone. So I don't, but she runs down the stairs and goes and tells my mom what just happened. So at this point, my mom's screaming at me, telling me how I can't punch my friends, yada, 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 because she didn't know the full story. So after that, we end up not being friends for 6 months because she was scared of me. Even though it was literally her idea, and she punched me first. But that's how we got in a fist fight. Bye.